Welcome to No Question About That. This is the Tactics Show with me, Ed, and him, Dharnish. Dharnish, how's it going?
Good. Yeah. Nice weekend. Nice, sweat-free United win.
No Daniel today because he's on his 4th day of a bender. I kid you not, folks. He's still drinking.
Was that a joke? Or
No.
Actually...
He's had 2 bar mitzvahs to go to and 2 nights out. I think maybe 3 bar. I don't know. And it's Jewish holidays of some kind. So
they all blend into one. Picture Lisandro Martinez after the World Cup, where I think
he was properly cunted for weeks.
He's not. I think Ten Hag said, he's injured. And then I think there's a picture of him in some bar in Argentina with the glasses on. He's not coming for a few days.
Well, Daniel is either Lisandro Martinez or Jack Grealish on pretty much any night of the week. All right, we'll carry on without him. What are we going to talk about today? So interesting, victory for United, pretty routine win, all in all, juiced the numbers up front and at the back. But some interesting stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit about, got some notes here, United's defensive shape, which was quite distinct, especially off the ball. Talk about the pressing, long balls. We'll talk about some of the attacking rhythms, especially with Mount in there. It looks very different. And a little bit about the control and how United played with the game state there. So lots of positive stuff. Let's talk about that defensive shape, though, because it was just really clear with the eye test. Mason Mount dropping back when United didn't have the ball looked like a 4-4-2, or even with Bumo, a 4-5-1 if he dropped to cover the right back. That's what a lot of people have been calling for, rather than massive gaps in midfield. What did you make of it?
If you look at Man United's fixtures or their games over the last 2-3 years, it's really weird, the similarities between Ten Hag and Amorim when they set up out of possession. I distinctly remember last season, Højlund, if he went to press, I remember sort of screaming at the screen, no, please don't do that, please, because it creates gaps in behind. Teams can then pass through them. It happened against Man City. Sometimes the press worked because Rodri gave it away or City's defence gave it away, but often, and the problem was it didn't work because they exploited the press too much and they could move the players around because United are not really the best pressers, and they also have a player who's playing Cam in central midfield, so sometimes he jumps when he doesn't need to. There's basically a lot of space when United press, and there's less space when they don't. So Sunderland had the ball in their back four. As they had it, United just stood off. Šeško dropped off, covered the pass to the midfielder. Mount dropped off, covered the pass to the left midfielder. Sometimes when it went to the left back or the right back, Dalot or the opposite fullback, Amad Diallo, would push up and press. That's absolutely fine because it's Sunderland. They're not really going to build up from the fullback positions. So fine, it's all good. You don't really need to press Sunderland and create space in midfield because, hey presto, Granit Xhaka is in the middle of the pitch. Even some of the passes he was doing, I was like, bloody hell, mate, you still got it. Unk still got it.
Oh, he's got it on the ball. It's the off the ball stuff with his age and stuff that's not quite as good as it once was. But yeah. No, it was really noticeable how United basically played like an away side, dropping back into a mid block. Mount is excellent at this where he is. I mean, often he's in the team as the trigger for the press. Here he was dropping back to cover he was the pass shadow out to the right hand side of Sunderland or covering our left back. And Bumo did the same thing often. It was very noticeable when 𝐂𝐄𝐄 came on. Amorim was screaming at him because he didn't do it. Yeah. And I mean, United have had quite a lot of high recoveries under Amorim. So they have been pressing, just not well. They don't look like a good pressing side, do they? But have they at any point really under Amorim? But we've had quite a lot of those high recoveries. That's put a lot of pressure on midfield. They didn't do that against Sunderland. It looked much better. I don't expect it to carry on personally because it's like we got 50 games of evidence here, but it looked much more secure. And I guess that's Amorim just going, hey, I need a win. I just desperately need a win.
So I just scrap it all. Please, I need a win. The high recoveries tend to come from really 2 players or 3 players if you added Buemo in there. Buemo, Diallo and Mount when they're playing. And when they're not playing, the high recoveries get worse. And also they don't really capitalize on them as much because they've been bad with finishing chances.
Yeah.
And I feel like they do there is just too much space that I've seen in the first, I don't know, how many games we had, 7 games in the games that they've had. So I don't mind this approach at all. I like the fact that he has changed it because of the opponent, because we know Sunderland, they're good at being pragmatic, they're good at winning physical duels, they're good at defending the box. They're not going to be good at playing through you. They're not going to be good at possession-based build-up. So fine, let them have the ball, wait for it to come back, and when we have it, lump it long. Lovely. That was the aim of the game.
Well, let's move into that then, since you mentioned it. I think Senne Lemmens... Yeah, Senne Lemmens made 33 long passes. I don't know whether you can even call them a long pass. Long balls, 33, yeah. United did 60 overall, so that's 20% of our total passes, or 15 or something like that. It's a very high percentage that United were hoofing it effectively. This wasn't necessarily the controlled long passing we've seen at times this season. I thought with Lemmens especially, I assume he was just asked to be safe, right? I mean, I know there's been a lot of analysis of him in the Belgian league. He's not really a passing keeper. He looks competent enough, but I think they just told him, it's windy, it's wet, it's Manchester in the autumn, it's your debut, don't take any chances, let's just launch it. And he did.
It says, look, when life gives you Lemmens.
Yep.
Was that it? You can muster a chuckle. I was saving that.
No, I don't know. You weren't first with it, so I'd heard it.
Oh, I thought I was first. When life gives you Lemmens.
Sorry, mate. When everyone has a good line there, I avoided using that for our pod line as well, because I figured everyone would do it. So,
well, maybe you could have told me that beforehand.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Good producer would have scripted out the notes first. Yeah. We'll say, like, Amorim refused to say, just while we're on Lemmens, he refused to say he's the number one now, but surely he is, right? Because he's competent with everything. He caught the balls he's supposed to catch. He swept up the chances he was supposed to sweep. He saved, one good save to his left, one with his legs. There was that moment he rushed out and Traore dived. But apart from that, it's just like kind of all competent, wasn't it?
It's very composed. It was very, very composed. It's also a good performance because everybody had their eyes on him, right? It was the big surprise in the lineup before they were announced. It's just, I don't know, it felt like the keeper was drinking a casual beer as opposed to the guy from before who was maybe taking cocaine or ketamine. That's
wow.
Like.
This has escalated quickly, yeah. Lemmens there with his Hefeweizen or some Belgian Trappist beer. Well, it'd be a Trappist, wouldn't it? With him chilling out between the posts, and Onana was doing lines. Bloody hell.
I mean, Onana, Bayende, whichever one you want to call it, but I remember Sunderland getting a corner and going, oh, we don't have a keeper who's going to just run up and down like Flappy Bird and try to rush out and get the ball and miss it. He was very composed. I liked the way he was shouting at everybody during the game. He was very, you need to have that imposing figure about yourself as a keeper at United. You need to realise the badge that's on your chest. Edwin van der Sar had it, Peter Schmeichel had it as well. So I like that he was doing that very early. And
are you Schmeichel in disguise was the chant. A bit early for that. A little bit cheeky.
In disguise. But they got a sense of humour at least. But it was very composed and very calm. I didn't have any problems with him being the keeper. Keepers are not supposed to make errors. They're not supposed to be the guys that you talk about after the game. And we're talking about him after the game, but in a positive light. So,
right. Yeah.
And I think he is the number one now. What did Amorim say? For rotation issues?
He called it rotation before the game, and after something equivocated similarly after the game as well. I can't remember the exact quotes.
Masterful rotation of a goalkeeper.
Great. Yeah. He didn't make any mistakes, so if he's dropped for Anfield, I will be, and then Bayende flaps one in, I'll be very upset. All right, well, we talked about the defensive shape, lack of press, long balls. Let's talk about Mount and Mbeumo. I mean, Mount especially is kind of interesting because like all the time he's spent at the club, we're like, why did United buy him exactly? And then in this shape, he's like one of the few players that looks perfect in this system because it's perfect for him, right? He likes to tuck inside. He's not going to be a 10 that wants to drift wide. He's good defensively. He makes quite a difference. It was kind of interesting when 𝐂𝐄𝐄 came on. A little bit of that shape disappeared. So is Mount ahead of 𝐂𝐄𝐄 in the team now, or is that just a one-off game? Like, what does that look like?
I think Mount's quite ahead of most people in the team, be it in attack and midfield, because he can play in both positions. I think he's had quite a few games this season, and what he brings out of possession is really, really good. But also, I want to talk specifically about what him and Mbeumo did in the first half, where I think that was one of the best 45 minutes I've seen from a United team in attack, because it was like, all right, long balls are coming, Šeško sometimes gets on the end of them, and Mbeumo can chase the lost cause. If the long ball doesn't work, fire it into Mount, fire it into Mbeumo, turn them. I think it was like maybe the 20th minute, maybe I'm mistaken, people who are watching this don't go back in the 20th minute and say, hey, it wasn't the 20th minute. Something like that in the first half.
Don't worry.
If Mbeumo gets it, he drops very deep in his own half or close to his own half, makes one touch around Alderete. Alderete is all over him. He can't get a hold of him. And I think he makes a foul and he gets an instant yellow card. But I was like, that's exactly what the number 10s in Amorim's system are supposed to do. We didn't see that against Brentford, by the way. I think we touched on it. We didn't see any of that against Brentford. The 2 10s weren't dropping. I don't know what the attacking style or the plan was. Maybe it was too many long balls against Brentford, like Amorim said. But it's brilliant. It's exactly what I want to see, because you start to bait players in and you start to drag them as close into United's half, which leaves space in behind. And Mbeumo did that really well. Mount did that really well, but Mount is becoming more valuable because he can drop in and be a midfielder as well. There were certain points where he dropped in, got the ball, played it wide, which meant that Bruno Fernandes, after starting the move, could then go forward and actually be in the attacking positions that I want him to be in. So I think he made a cross that was into the box as well at some point. Mount is just doing the very smart things that is needed in this system. He's a good presser. Yeah. He is good at turning on the ball. He even seems to be good at wriggling out of challenges now as well. It's probably the best 64 minutes I've seen from Mason Mount in a United shirt.
Yeah, I think that's all fair. Yeah. I mean, I would like to see it the other way around with Bruno at number 10 and Mount at 8. I know why it's this way round. It's more of a defensive question. Every coach that's ever picked Mount at number 10 has picked him for the defensive parts of his game rather than the productivity. I mean, you just look down his record, right? I think he's had one season when he's been in double figures for both goals and assists. I may be wrong there, but something like that. Right? It's just not enough productivity for a 10 typically. Yeah. But the all-round game gives you something. It'd be interesting what Amorim does for Anfield. I mean, it's 2 weeks' time, so who knows what happens with injuries and stuff like that. But what's he looking for there? Will he go on the front foot? Often in these big games, he gets a bit defensive, I think, Amorim. So I'm kind of expecting that. But we'll see. It was good for Mount, though. That's what we want from him, and it's been 2.5 years or 2 and a bit years in coming. And I'm not predicting it'll be like this every time, because he could well get injured during the international break. It'd be classic Mount, that would.
I think that's been a problem as well, the injuries. But you do touch upon a good point, because obviously it's a routine win against Sunderland, or that's as routine wins get. Man United should be doing those wins week in, week out against those teams, irrespective of how competitive the Premier League is, irrespective of the fact that Sunderland fourth coming into the game. But we still should, I think, look at some of the problems that we've had during the season. I would like to see Bruno more advanced, or I would like to see him get into situations where, all right, look, if you're the deepest midfielder, you can be the guy who starts the moves and tries to get on the end of them. I don't know if many people have watched Harry Kane at Bayern Munich this season, but he drops so deep down. Not so deep as in sometimes, so deep as in he receives on his own penalty area deep, and then he looks to get into the box and get on the end of those moves. I'd like to see Fernandes do that more. Maybe better in with Casemiro in.
Well, it's definitely better with Casemiro because the midfield shape of that too changes completely when 𝐓𝐇𝐄𝐄𝐒's in there. He's the counter presser, right? He's the first guy to go with the press, and Bruno ends up being like basically number 6 behind him collecting the ball.
Yeah.
And it's the other way round with Casemiro because they know if Casemiro pushes up the field, he's not going to be able to get back.
Things are a lot better with Uncle Cass on the pitch, but again, you make a good point because it does feel like Bruno is the dictating deep lying playmaker when Casemiro's playing with him. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but it feels like Casemiro can't be dropped right now. I don't think I would have said this maybe 10 hard seconds.
He can't be. He just can't. He can't play more than an hour, and then we saw it kind of fell off a cliff, didn't it? His performance. I mean, it's not like we gave away a lot of chances. It just becomes a lot less structured as soon as 𝐓𝐇𝐄𝐒's in there. Yeah, I don't want to shit on him just for the sake of it, but
you're going there.
He's so one-dimensional. I'm going there.
I know. We can push you in that direction.
Well, let's talk. Since we got onto that, let's talk about that last 30 because it was pretty controlled. It's just we didn't have the attacking performance in the second half that we had in the first, really. But at no point did I think United were going to lose this. That last 30, they managed the game pretty well.
Yeah, they defended the box pretty well. I think there was maybe one cross that came across the box that I didn't really like. But they had 15 minutes of take the sting out of the game. Remember, I think it was like 60 minutes, 65 minutes. And because of how panicked the season was, I was like, all right, 10 more minutes. But it didn't, you're right, it never felt like Sunderland were going to score. But I think that's because in all of the games that they've had problems in this season, Man United, City, Burnley, Brentford, I thought the performance against Arsenal was pretty controlled. But then this also goes for maybe the second half against Fulham. The game state gets into a place where they just panic. They panic and the plan goes out of the window and it's like, oh no, God, we need a result. I don't know what we're doing. We need a goal. Everybody go up top. Oh God, we conceded one because I pushed everybody up. And then it's, oh no, we need a goal. Just hunt the ball long. And then we'll concede space at the back. And that's how Burnley scored their second goal when they should have put them away in the first half.
Yeah.
For the first time, I think, throughout the season, in the second half, because of how controlled things remained and because they dictated the tempo, nothing happened in a chaotic manner. It was a controlled game. The tempo remained the same. Even if you're not creating chances with that mentality, you're still controlling the game and you're dictating the tempo. They did it in the first half.
In a way that didn't really happen, say, against Chelsea when we should have been controlling the game in that situation. We just conceded too much territory and they scored late and it could have been even worse. Here, there was none of that. Happy with that. Game state's kind of interesting because I've been behind so often this season. Too often, like not every game. Obviously, it's about half the minutes or something United have spent behind, but it's been too often. It changes the way you think about the data as well. Like United have had more shots than anyone else and conceded the fewest shots this season. That doesn't really mean anything without contextualising it. When did those shots happen? Quite a lot of them were when we were already 3-0 down against City, or that Burnley first half, which was good, or the Chelsea game when we had 11 versus their 10. The quality of shots is still quite low. I looked at it this weekend, 0.11 non-penalty XG per shot, as opposed to, I think, City's at 0.15. That's 40% better. The quality of shot we conceded prior to the Sunderland game was obviously very high as well. I think it was 0.17 per shot. Very, very high, that is. So some context. I mean, it's good that we're taking a lot of shots and conceding not that many. It's just if the quality of those shots is crap and the quality of the shots conceded against is high, that's never going to lead you to a good position. So it's, I'm not taking away too much from this win.
No.
Yet. It's nice to get the win, obviously, and we can all feel good and it didn't ruin our weekend for once. And Amorim was very pragmatic, both with the defensive shape and the long balls and all of that kind of stuff. I think it looks very different when we go to Anfield. be very interesting to see whether United go, well, hang on a minute, this is a Liverpool side that's lost 3 games in a row. What can we learn from that? Are we going to go on the attack, or are we going to do what Amorim tends to do in these big games, and he'll pick 2 fullbacks in the wing-back positions and all of that, and I assume Mount will start, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Just to pick up on that as well, I think they've conceded from the first shot against Burnley, City, Fulham, and maybe Chelsea. I think there's one more in that as well. Right. But in each of those games, they've conceded from the first shot. Each time. Not the first attack or the first shot that might have been XG, or the first shot that was blocked, or the first shot from 40 yards, or the first shot inside the penalty area, the first shot. Right. So it's again, I'm going back to this theme of, as long as the game is still there and it doesn't become chaotic, I think they know what to do and they stick to the plan. It's just when it goes to crap and when they start losing, that's when the plan goes out of the window. And it comes from what's happened in the last 2 seasons, because I was thinking about this the other day before bed. It's quite worrying what's happened to him in the last 2 seasons to this team, because I just think of some of the results, they've been utterly deflating. Huge losses to Tottenham, huge losses to Liverpool, loss after loss against Man City at the Etihad, but they've been beaten, and they've been beaten quite badly. So when I think 1 or 2 goals go in, they just think, God, here we go again. And Amorim alluded to that in an interview last week or 2 weeks ago. I know we're at the stage with the manager where we're questioning everything he's doing. We're questioning every word or murmur that he puts out. So we should, because that's the level that it's got to. But I did agree with him in the sense that he said, look, the players absolutely listen to the media, and it gets to them. So I think there's that psychological side of it in terms of the players, and it's because of what's happened in the last 2 years.
Yes, I think it's because of what happened in the last 2 years rather than them listening to the media per se. And if they are, they should stop opening the papers, turn off their phones, and not be on social media, right? That is the manager's job. I didn't like that. Personally, right. I thought he's abdicating responsibility. He does these 2 things, right, which seem contradictory, but I don't think they are. I think they're part of his personality. He'll do this one thing where he goes, we're the worst team in the world. I know results aren't great. Maybe I'll walk away. Maybe, if you want to change things, get rid of the manager, right? It's this kind of weird negativity. And then he hasn't really singled out players unless he's been positive, but he's been quite negative about their mentality, their performances and stuff like that. And I think, and then he goes, and it's all your fault, media, right? And I know I'm picking separate things there, right, to make a point, but I think the wider point is, I don't like how he communicates. At first, it was kind of refreshing that he was honest and he laid it all out there, and he's got a bit of charisma and he talks nicely. But I think actually the substance of what he's saying is quite negative, and I kind of understand why, because he's had 50 games and a 35% win rate, and he's taken some really heavy beatings. And in normal circumstances, if it wasn't the new regime's man, he probably would have been fired, right? So. And these aren't tactical points, but I do think it feeds into the thinking somewhat, right?
Yeah, it all has a big butterfly effect on what we're talking about, and it has a big butterfly effect on the grand bigger picture, because we have to look at the grand bigger picture and not just one game week against Sunderland and go, oh, nice long balls, a composed goalkeeper, hey presto, we're out of the shit.
Yeah,
because that's just not how it works. And
some of that's unsustainable, right? The long ball stuff, I just don't. I know it was a thing that happened at Sporting, but I felt it was more controlled than this, at least what I'd seen of Sporting. But,
or at least, but it was more fruitful.
It just feels a lot.
Yeah,
feels a lot.
At least it was more fruitful at Sporting. This is more kind of in hope. But I also think it's because everybody's doing it in the Premier League. Like, analysts look at what other people are doing and they go, oh, that looks quite good. And they speak to the other analysts, and then that's what they do. That's why we do long throws now. And we scored from a long throw as well. We've got some time left. Benjamin Šeško. Šeško. The curious case of Benjamin Šeško. In the second half, it felt like he was there. It was coming. It was like, we have a number 9 now who, he reminded me of like Ruud van Nistelrooy a bit. When I used to watch Van Nistelrooy, I was like, he's definitely going to score. But he'd get the ball like on the byline or on the centre circle, chest it, shrug 2 defenders off, wait for everybody else to come, and then the whole of Old Trafford would sort of clap. I distinctly remember those 2 Van Nistelrooy's big moves, scoring and that. But Šeško looked like he was really, really feeling it in the second half. He was really enjoying his football.
Yeah. A few of them bounced off his shins, and he was a bit untidy in the first half, and I was just wondering, and he does look a bit ungainly because he's such a big bastard, but I think we're confident. I feel like his fitness is getting there. He clearly wasn't fit at the start of the season, right? So his fitness is getting there. I want him to be tidy 100% of the time, and he's not yet. He definitely grew into the game. Maybe it's a confidence thing. I don't know. I think he's scoring goal. He scored a striker's goal. I mean, it wasn't a unique one to Šeško. It was just he got in there, he got ahead of the defender, he finished neatly. It should be simple. It was simple because he's good enough to get there. So I think you're right. I think we have a number 9.
We have a number 9, and we still rely on a veteran Brazilian midfielder who's earning $300K a week to make sure that this team doesn't descend into chaos. But
yeah, I know. I mean, he got a stupid yellow card. He's just missed a game through getting 2 yellow cards. One with a very rash tackle in which he got the ball, but still did it by pulling the defender back, and then he just flies into one. I'm like, what are you doing? He just can't help himself.
It's the way he turned to the referee after, as if saying, what are you talking about? But there was no reason to lunge in. I think it was on the centre circle. They were going nowhere. It's the dynamics of how Man United have won games this season has been very, very straightforward. Play at home, score in the opening 30 minutes, start with Casemiro and Fernandes, and then see the game out, right? It's three home wins, and they haven't won on the road yet. So don't upset the dynamic, please, because I keep thinking, oh, Casemiro's out, no problem, put Mino in. But I forget he loves 𝐓𝐇𝐄𝐄𝐒.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't get on to Manu. I'll just get 1,000 people explaining to me the situation, which I just love that when people mansplain on the internet. It's always good. Great interaction.
But I like how all of them feel as though they know so much now, because there's so much media out there on whatever. It's like we're all making up our own theories, and they're like, no, you're wrong because of this and that. Yeah, and you're like, no, you're an accountant. Stay in your lane.
Dearie me. Yeah. Yeah, No, I don't mind you beating up on accountants. Fucking accountants, come on.
I don't have an accountant. I fucking hate my accountant. I'm broke.
Because of your accountant. He's stealing all your riches.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. All right. Before we go, quick word on Anfield. Predict your 11. Come on. What you would do and what Amorim will do.
What I would do is do the exact same performance that you did last season. When we went there, it was very snowy. The game might have been off. They should have won. Maguire missed an open net in the last minute. But everybody looked at that performance and went, woof, where did that Man United come from? Because
wasn't that the one with 𝐂𝐇𝐄𝐒 and Manu in midfield?
Yes, it was, yeah. And he won a lot more duels and he won a lot more tackles. He has gone for 𝐂𝐇𝐄𝐒 in the big games, hasn't he? Against Arsenal. Against Arsenal he came on. In City he started, and he away he wanted more duels. I think he might do that again. Although
Casemiro got called up to the Brazil squad, which is that's a real shame. When it looked like he'd been retired, now he's back in under Ancelotti. Of course, he's back in under Ancelotti, and if he ends up playing on the Wednesday night, he won't get back until Friday UK time. I don't like that at all.
Aeroplanes are bad. You got to take care of Uncle Cass.
If only he could get one of those international week injuries, which aren't really, a little bit of a tight hammy. Shame. So go on then. Who's your back 3? Who's your goalkeeper for a start?
Well,
you think he's going to go Lemmens again?
When life gives you Lemmens.
All right.
Euro de Ligt. I don't want to put Luke de Shaw in there. But who else is fit?
Well, Maguire's fit, but we know they can't.
No, I don't.
In Amorim's system, you can't play de Ligt and Maguire. It's mad.
But also, I feel like Maguire has like 5 or 6 very good games, and then he has a random mistake. But he's at the point now where people have liked his sort of remontada so much, they're like, it's okay. So no, I wouldn't start with Maguire either. I would start with Luke Shaw. That's fine. I don't like the fact that I'm starting with Luke Shaw on that left-hand side, but Luke Shaw, I'm at right wing back. Get Dalot out of that team. I'm tired of watching him mess up every single attack. I'm sorry, Dalot. Just every time it touches you on attack, it goes out for a throw to the other team. Dogu, Fernandes, Cass. I don't think Cunha's fit. I wouldn't rush him back in. Šeško and Mbeumo, and then go on. Rush Cunha in. He had 20 minutes. He'll be all right.
Yeah, I think if I was picking what Amorim will do, maybe this is just my negativity. I mean, he's got to play Lemmens. You can't drop him after that. And then De Ligt, Maguire, Shaw, Dalot, Dogu, Casemiro, Fernandes, Mount, Mbeumo, Šeško is what I think he'll pick.
Dalot.
Yeah, I think he will, because I think he looks at the opposition's strengths and our weaknesses and just for that run the other way around. Yeah,
I think
maybe that's a bit negative, but I suspect that's what he'll do.
I think it'll be hard to drop Mount after those 64 minutes as well, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Cunha's got like a higher attacking ceiling. Not that we've seen it this season. 7 games, no goals, no assists, and all of that. But all right, well there we go. We'll be back after the Liverpool game to assess Liverpool 0, United 3.
Come on.
Yeah. I think the last time that happened might have been in the under-18s, but yeah. Come on, you Reds.
Years ago. Enjoy the win, guys.
Yeah. All right. Bye now.